Governor Andrew Cuomo is criticizing law enforcement officials who refuse to enforce the state's latest COVID-19 restrictions, including the 10-person cap on private gatherings ahead of Thanksgiving. Watch this.
Well, I don't believe in that law, and therefore I won't enforce it. That is, frankly, frightening to me as an individual, frightening to democracy. It's arrogant, and it violates your constitutional duty.
My next guest says, guess what? He is actually not going to enforce the governor's limits on social gatherings. Fulton County Sheriff Richard Giardino joins me now. Sheriff, great to see you today. Thank you for being with me. First of all, what goes through your mind when you hear the governor say what he just said, that you don't have the right to not follow the restrictions?
It disturbs me because I think he doesn't understand the distinction between a law, which we learned when we were young, that a legislature passes a bill, it goes to a governor or president, and they either sign it or veto it, and an executive order. Legislature in New York abdicated the role by giving full authority to the governor. These are executive orders. That's why he can issue an executive order to a bar, a restaurant, or a gym, because they all have licenses under the state liquor authority or the health department. And so therefore, he's got control under the authority of his departments, and they can limit hours, they can limit masks, they can limit distancing in seats in the restaurant, and they can fine them. But an executive order aimed at an individual in their home, everyone just gets that sense without even me having to cite the law that something's wrong with that. Now, interesting on your lead-in, in Oregon, it was 6 people at your home. In New York, it's 10.
Yeah.
So does that mean that the COVID is more dangerous in Oregon and less dangerous in New York? It means they're picking arbitrary numbers. So that's one reason it would not survive constitutional muster. As a former Superior Court judge and a former district attorney, it's incumbent on myself and the governor, who both took an oath of office, to uphold the Constitution. And I'll stand by the Constitution every day over an executive order.
Steuben County Sheriff, another area of New York, James Allard said in a statement, officers will not be peeking in your window or attempting to enter your property to count the number of persons at your table on Thanksgiving. You mentioned those numbers. I bring that up. Governor Cuomo said he's not asking anybody to do that, but said if they receive complaints or happen upon large groups inside for the holidays, they should break up the parties. How do you happen upon my living room that's on the backside of my house?
Good question. Good question. One of the suggestions was, well, if there's 10 cars or a neighbor complains, we still need a search warrant, your consent. We can't just go into your home. And the problem is it was ill-phrased because it gave people the impression that the governor was telling them and that there's some sanction involved. People respond better when they're asked to comply. In our state, the numbers are very low. We're a 1.3% county. And people have to remember that our goal is to keep people alive and reduce this, but it's got to be done in a constitutional manner. And what we know is 99% plus of people who contract it get over it in a few weeks. Unfortunately, those at high risk die. And Dr. Fauci's been telling us for 8 months, the numbers are going to rise in the fall and winter. They're going to rise. They're going to get bad. So, somebody said to me, well, if people get COVID in your county, you're going to have blood on your hands. It's up to the individual to decide. By now, they all know what the precaution advice is, stay away, mask. And I think people are smart enough not to put their elderly and at-risk people in that environment. In fact, most people who've talked to me support me supporting the Constitution, but they also say that they're changing their Thanksgiving this year. They're limiting it. They're just family. They may just pass over it. So people are doing that without an order to do so.
Well, not only are they hearing what you're saying, but they know that you know what you're talking about. And your background as a former judge and attorney really helps you make the case. Let's see if the governor is paying attention. Sheriff Giardino, Fulton County, New York, thank you. Great to see you today.
Thank you, Harris. Good seeing you. Have a nice weekend and have a limited to 10 Thanksgiving Day.
I'm going to adhere by personal responsibility and do what you say, Sheriff. Thank you very much.
Hey, don't tell me how many you're having or I'll have to send a SWAT team, and I don't want to do that, Harris.